So hey guys, it's KMCers. I'm Kiersten and welcome back to another true crime video. So today we're going to be talking about Nohema Graber. So let's just jump right into her case. Nohema Graber was born on November 10th of 1954. She was 66 years old from Fairfield, Iowa. Her parents are Noel and Concepcion. She did have some siblings, Jose, Felipe, Alfredo, Roberto, and Maria. She did get married to Paul Graber, who is kind of now her ex-husband, but yet they're still super close. They did end up having 3 children, a son named Kiersten, a son named Jared, and a daughter named Nohema Marie. She was described as a Spanish teacher at Fairfield High School, but before all that ever started, after high school she became a flight attendant, and she loved being in the air so much that she was actually the first woman in Mexico to get a license to fly passenger jets. Became an active member of the St. Mary's Catholic Church, so active that she went to mass almost every single day. She was very kind, compassionate, faith-filled, but in her 20s, she decided that she wanted a career change and get a teaching degree in English. But in 2008, there was such a demand for Spanish teachers that she figured, I already have this teaching certificate, so I might as well just teach something that I already kind of know. Spanish is her native language, so she did decide to become the Spanish teacher. In 2012, she went to Fairfield High School as a part-time or a substitute kind of teacher, and then eventually it became a full-time gig, and that is where she loved being. The incident on November 2nd of 2021, Nohema went to the Chautauqua Park, where she went almost every single day to go for a walk. It was very much something that she did all the time, but she did not return home that evening, and she ended up not showing up for work the next day. That they grew very concerned, and they put in a missing person on November 3rd. So let's talk about the investigation. Hours after the missing persons went out, her body was found wrapped in a tarp at the Chautauqua Park. The cause of death became blunt force trauma to the head. When the news broke, students told the police about some Snapchats that were posted by 16-year-old Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodell. They eventually found out that Willard was actually with his mom visiting Nohema earlier that same morning to have a meeting about Willard's failing grades. He was really so upset by this whole failing grade thing that he actually did search up if a student could get extra credit if a teacher dies in the middle of a term. Questions like that is what he was Googling and searching and stuff. And Willard did send emails of lists of items that they needed and how they were gonna do it to Jeremy. The list did match up with the things that they did find at this crime scene, and police determined that the planning of this actually began 10 to 14 days before the actual murder took place. Around 4 p.m. on November 2nd, surveillance video showed that Nohema left the school to go to the park for her daily walk. Willard and Jeremy actually met at the park, and they were going to plan out the whole crime. On November 4th, a search warrant was executed for both of the boys' homes, and Willard and Jeremy were actually brought in to be questioned. Willard started with being very helpful and trying to say that he really wanted to help find out what happened to her. He gave some false statements, and things started to he changed his story that police started to become very concerned by his whole story. They did interview with Jeremy, and Jeremy kind of told them everything that happened. So Jeremy's interview, he started to say that they waited for her by the trail, and when she came up from, by the trail or whatever, they ended up hitting her in the head with the bat. Jeremy dragged her off the trail, where they hit her a few more times just to make sure that she was dead. And then they left her there and took her van and drove it to a dead-end road and kind of abandoned it there. They ended up calling a friend to take them back to the park to finish doing whatever they were going to be doing. They went over to Willard's home, where Willard gave Jeremy a green tarp and told him to bring this and sneak out tonight to take care of her body and everything. At around 12 a.m., Jeremy snuck out of his home and went to the Willard's house, and there was a wheelbarrow at the end of the driveway. He grabbed that and went to the park. To his surprise, Willard was actually already there, cleaning up a bunch of the blood that was left behind. Ended up taking Nohema's body, putting her in the wheelbarrow, and then pushing her by the railroad tracks and kind of pushing her down this hill by the railroad tracks, or like a ditch. And then that's when they dumped her out and covered her body with the tarp. But the wheelbarrow started to fall apart, so they ended up just putting the wheelbarrow on top of her and made it look like trash had been thrown out. Ended up going back to Willard's home, where they grabbed some beer, and then they went to Jeremy's house to drink the said beers, and they ended up proceeding to get drunk. Jeremy said that he passed out, but Willard did go home. November 4th, Willard and Jeremy were charged with Nohema's murder. So let's just jump right into the trial. Willard and Jeremy were charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree homicide. Both were held on a $1 million bond, and they both pled guilty to the first-degree murder on April 18th of 2023. Willard tried to apologize in court about his actions and to his family, but his apology did not come out as he was very remorseful or sincere at all about it. But Jeremy also did apologize for his actions in court, and this really tormented him for a while. That his apology was very, very sincere. He was in tears. In July of 2023, Willard was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 35 years. In November of 2023, Jeremy was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years. They were both tried as adults. So let's just talk about the aftermath. Kiersten and Marie, they both posted on Facebook about the the RIP to your relative, to honor their life, show photos of them and that kind of thing, and I could read to you what they exactly said. Kiersten posted saying, "I'm sorry I can't respond to all the messages, but I'll just say what I've been told. My mom passed away. As I understand, it was a attempted murder by 2 students. I forgive them, and feel sorry that they had that anger in their hearts. There's no point in being angry at them. We should hope that they can find peace in their lives. My mom was an angel of a woman and was one of the kindest souls. She gave me the gift of the Spanish language and helped many of her students over the years. She was well loved in the community and around the world. Thanks to everyone who reached out. I may ask for some help with things in the following days, but in the end, everything will be okay. Te amo, madre." And this is what Marie put. "We've lost an absolute angel in our family. It is all thanks to her for installing a love of travel and languages that my brothers and I have continued to experience the world throughout our lives. We had the wonderful fortune of growing up in a home filled with such an abundance of warmth and love. I will miss her laugh, and dancing with her to any music that was playing. She had so much joy in her eyes and such a deep sense of faith. To the two teenagers that so cruelly took her life, it is clear that they need more love and light in their hearts. But I agree with my oldest brother, Kiersten. All we can do is forgive. I am filled with so much gratitude to have had such a strong and beautiful woman as my mother. And with the outpouring of messages, it's incredibly touching to know that her presence impacted so many. What a blessing she is, and we know that her soul lives on in heaven. On June 29th of 2023, unfortunately, Paul, Nohema's husband, he did pass away due to some health issues. Unfortunately, he did pass away before the boys were sentenced for their crimes. So that is very, very sad, but they get to be together. Fairfield residents wanted to honor Nohema on the 1-year anniversary of her death. So they held a walking event at the park to also use it as a way of getting the community to actually enjoy that park again. They did, I believe, put benches in honor of Nohema. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it here with some photos of her to honor her life. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and comment down below what case I should do next. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that bell notification so you're notified when we post every single Tuesday and occasionally on Fridays when we feel like it. This is KMCers Whatever, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.